if you go through exactly what I tell you in this video, you are going to be doing 90% more than what your competitors are doing. Hey, if you are a small business owner looking to get more clients locally online, then stick around, because in this video, I'm going to be walking you through the exact things I would do when working with a local SEO client who is trying to bring in more local customers to their business using SEO. Now, this is going to be I'm going to try to keep this video as simple as possible. A lot of people make SEO seem very complicated when it isn't really. I'm not going to dive deep into all the technical nitty-gritty things that we don't really need to know right now. Agencies such as myself who actually work with clients, it's good to know, but it's just going to be it's going to be too complicated for you, and it's going to make you just want to quit right away. So I'm going to give you everything that you need to know that is going to be the most important. If you go through exactly what I tell you in this video, you are going to be doing 90% more than what your competitors are doing. So just keep that in mind as we get into this video. So we're going to start things off with step one. And this is going to be to just create a Google My Business listing. If you're watching this, maybe you already have one. That's great. Now to do this, it's very simple. You just go to Google and type in google.com/business. And then right here, if you don't have a Google My Business listing, you can create one. If you do have one, you can sign in. Make sure you're signed in under the account that you created the Google My Business listing. Or if you haven't created one and you're going to create one, make sure you create one under the Google account that you want to have manage it. So like your business account. So that is pretty straightforward. What a Google My Business listing does is, say I search for plumber in Windsor, Colorado. That's where I live, in Windsor. As you scroll down, you see this section right here. This is called the map pack. And these are all Google My Business listings. Now, the way Google ranks these is basically by location and by relevance, and basically how active the listing is and the reviews. So the number one ranking factor is location. Obviously, I'm in Windsor, about an hour north of Denver. So Google isn't going to show me a plumber in Denver. They're going to show me a plumber in Windsor. The next thing is, say you have two Google My Business listings. One is never updated. No photos are ever added to it. No posts are done to it. No reviews are coming in really. And then you have another Google My Business listing. The owner is constantly uploading new photos, adding new posts with promotions or whatever, and people are leaving reviews. That is going to outrank the other one pretty much almost every single time. Now, before we move on to this is pretty straightforward when setting it up, but there is three things you want to get correct when setting this up, and it's called your NAP information. It just stands for name, address, and phone number. You want to make sure you get that perfect when setting up your Google My Business listing. You want your business name to be exactly how you use it on your website or on your Facebook page. So for my example, for my Google My Business listing, it's registered under, I think, Fitter Media. Now, if I used Fitter Media LLC on my website or business page, my Google My Business listing should be Fitter Media LLC, just so things are consistent. Google likes it that way. So let's go over to the next step. Oh, and by the way, the Google My Business listing, it all depends on how competitive it is. If you're in a pretty low competitive place, you could potentially start getting phone calls or emails within the first month of setting it up, because it automatically is added to the map pack. Step two is, you might already have this done as well, but you want to set up a website. Now, if you already have a website set up, don't skip this part of the video, because what I want to tell you about your website is you want to create pages around keywords. So what do I mean by that? So say you are a gym. So what you would want to do is you want to go to Google and you would want to type in gym in, and as you can see, it's starting to do a lot of towns. So you want to pick your town. My town's Windsor, so Windsor Co. And pretty much this is a very safe keyword to do in most industries and cities. So whether you're a plumber or a restaurant or whatever, do gym in Windsor, Colorado. Now it all depends on what business you are. So say you're a CrossFit gym, you could add to this, instead of being general, you could get very specific and say CrossFit gym in Windsor, Colorado. And this would be a good keyword to use for your homepage. So what you would do is on your homepage, create your page centered around the keyword CrossFit gym in Windsor, Colorado. So what do I mean by that? I just mean when someone comes to your site, have an H1 tag. If you don't know what that is, just Google it. It's very simple. And just put in the base keyword, CrossFit gym in Windsor, Colorado. And then in the next 100 words on your site, just be sure to include the keywords in a nice, easy, flowing way. And then down the page, as you're writing content and adding images, whatever you're doing to your site, make sure to sprinkle in the keyword here and there. Not too much. Make sure it's like readable by a human, like not every other word you're mentioning the keywords. And then once you have your homepage, you can go on to create service pages centered around their own keywords. So a good example of that is a site we have, or that we built, called NoCo Plumbing Service. So obviously the homepage, as you can see, this is the H1 tag. The H1 is going after the keywords plumbing in Windsor, Colorado. That's the main keyword. However, if we go to the service pages, so sinks, each of these service pages are going to be targeting their own keywords. So let's go under sink repair. This service page is going to be going after the keyword sink repair in Windsor, Colorado. If we go back to sink installation, this one's going to be targeting sink installation in Windsor, Colorado. So every time you want to target a new keyword, you can create a new page. And the rule of thumb is to only go after one keyword per page. It's a lot easier to rank that way. And that is pretty much it for the website. We could get into a lot of nitty-gritty stuff about your website. We don't have to get into that right now. If you do want a free website audit, there will be a link in the description where you can submit your website to me, and I'll send you a custom website audit, and we can dive into that a little bit more. It's completely for free, by the way. So let's go to step 3. Now, this is where people start to get a little bit freaked out at SEO, just because now is when you have to start putting in a little bit more work. So one of the main ways Google ranks a website is by backlinks. Now, a backlink is just when someone else, like another website, links to your website. So a simple backlink is when you set up your Google My Business listing in link 1. If you had a website in that step and you added it to your Google My Business listing, that is going to count as a backlink because Google My Business is linking to your website. Now, it can also be in the form of, say you are a plumber and a local company links to you from their website. That also counts as a backlink. Now, not all backlinks are created equal. So social backlinks coming from like social media, those aren't going to carry as much weight as if a website in your industry linked to you. So pretty much when you're going to acquire backlinks, and I'll tell you why you want to do this in a little bit, you want to target websites that are in your industry, and preferably, if you're trying to rank locally, that they are local to you. At least that they are in your industry. So if you're in a plumber, you want to get some backlinks from plumbing related websites. And I'll tell you how to do that in a little bit. So why would you want to acquire backlinks in the first place? Well, to be honest, Google uses backlinks as basically like a popularity number for websites. So to them, they think that the website with the most backlinks has the most likelihood of answering your questions when you go to Google something. Because obviously, if more people are linking to it, it's more popular. It probably has helped more people, so they think it will probably help someone when they go to Google. Okay, so how do you start acquiring backlinks? Because we already talked about you need backlinks to outrank people on Google. So how do you start acquiring backlinks? So basically, you can do this in a few steps. I'm going to go over this bottom one first, buying local citations. So the Google My Business listing that you set up is a local citation. Now there are a ton of other ones. There's Yelp, there are like Yellow Pages. There's a ton of other ones you don't even know about. There's hundreds of them. So if you go to this service called fatjoe.com, and then you go on to link building local business citations. What this service does is you can pay them and they will go and set up a ton of local citations for you. So things like Yelp and things like that. Every local citation they set up is going to count as a backlink to your site. Now they don't carry as much weight as a backlink from another site in your industry, but they do help quite a bit. Not counting the fact that there actually are people on like a site like Yellow Pages who are searching for businesses there. So you are kind of getting in front of more people that way, and that alone could send you customers. So what you would do is you can buy 25 citations, 50 citations, or 100. I would recommend at least going for 50 if you can. If you can, go for 100. That's what we did for our own personal website and that we usually like to do for clients. Once you click on order, it's just going to run you through again, like how many did you want? So we want one order of 100 citations. If it's in pounds, don't worry about that. You want to select your country. And this is where you're going to start filling out the information that they're going to use to propagate all the fields on these listings. So you want to make sure you get these perfect, because it's just a pain to go back and change it. And you want to make sure that your NAP information, name, address, phone number, is identical to what your Google My Business listing is set to. So you give a brief description of your business, your full business address. Again, make sure it's identical to what you used on your Google My Business listing, your business name, keywords that you want to shoot for, your phone number, your website URL, the founder, CEO, and the listing email address. That's pretty much it. It's that simple. Within about 15 days, they'll have went in and created all these listings for you, and then you can log into your dashboard and see what they did. Okay, so that is one way. Buying local citations, that you only want to do like one time. You don't want to keep buying local citations. You want to start focusing more of your efforts on these two right here. So the most popular way of acquiring backlinks is guest blogging. Now you might be like, blogging, like is blogging dead? It's actually very relevant when acquiring backlinks, and pretty much you still use blogging every day, even if you don't know it. Anytime you went and Googled something and read an article, basically a blog. So guest blogging is where you go to a website in your industry or like a local news station or something like that, and you basically say, hey, we have some good ideas for an article that we'd like to write, and you can post on your site for free. The only thing is, could we get a backlink to our site in the article, and preferably close to the top of the article instead of near the bottom, because Google considers a link that is higher to the top of the page more authority than a link that is near the bottom, like the footer of the website. So preferably near the top. If you don't know how to find sites where you can do guest blogging on, it's very simple. You can just find sites near you, whether in your industry or like business partnerships that you could create. So like if you are a web designer like myself, you could find people who do graphic design or things like that. Local news stations are a really good one. Or you could also type into Google, say you have a plumbing business, you type in plumbing and then in quotes, right for us. And then what Google is going to do is they're going to show you a whole list of sites in the plumbing industry that are actually asking people to come write for them. And then that is a great way to get backlinks. If you don't want to sit around and start writing all these articles, you can outsource to places like Upwork or Fiverr and have someone write the article for you. That is the most popular way, guest blogging. Now, one way I'm starting to focus some of my attention is guest podcasting. I am going to be a guest soon on my local library's podcast. And the reason I did that, between me and you, the reason I did that is I saw on their site, on the library site, they are including links back to the business that they interviewed on their podcast. And that's going to be a very good backlink because it's not necessarily in my industry. It's not like it's a web design thing or a web development thing, but it is a local website that carries a lot of weight in Google's eyes because it's like a government site. And that's why I did it. Now, there's a ton of local podcasts depending on your area. Find one if it's in your industry or it makes sense to be a guest, and because they're most likely going to put your link somewhere in the show notes. And step 4 is just rinse and repeat. What you want to do is go back through this process and basically just rinse and repeat. So you want to make sure every month you're keeping your Google My Business link, your Google My Business active. You're getting reviews. The Google My Business listing is going to give you a review link that you can send to clients. Just know that when you make a post on Google My Business, it will expire after I think 7 or 14 days. So you want to keep putting posts on Google My Business consistently. Step 2 is you want to make sure you keep on creating pages centered around keywords. So say you max out the amount of pages that you can make for like service pages because you covered all of your services. You can then start creating blog posts on your website. And again, keep the same thing in mind for each blog post. Center it around a single keyword. And you can find blog post ideas by just going to Google and typing in, let's go to the Google homepage. And you can type in something like is plumbing. And then you're going to see a whole bunch of autocomplete keywords. And this is what people are searching on Google. So is plumbing a good career? And then from here, you want to kind of scroll down through and get an idea if people are answering the question correctly or not. So this one, if there's a big snippet right here and the snippet nails the question, that's a sign that it's going to be like kind of competitive. If you run into a keyword and there's a lot of forums on the first page, there's Reddit, there's Quora, things like that, that is some clear signs that the keyword is a little bit less competitive and it will be good to target. Because once you start creating blog posts on your site, you can actually pull in more traffic to your website because people are actually searching for answers to questions and then they find your post and they come to your site. Next, you want to every single month be finding backlink opportunities using either guest blogging, guest podcasting, or building local citations. Like I said, buying local citations is something you should only do like once or twice. You don't want to keep buying them because you don't want to rely on them too much. Like I said, the backlinks don't carry a ton of weight. And then you just keep rinsing and repeating every single month. Basically, when a client hires me to do SEO for them, this is what me and my team are doing. So yeah, that is a full guide on how to do local SEO for your business. After a few months of this, you'll find that you're going to be getting a lot more leads from your website, from your Google My Business listing. And notice I said after a few months, SEO takes a long time to start working. So if it's been 3 months, 4 months, and you feel like you haven't gotten anywhere, keep going. Sometimes it can take 8 months, depending on how competitive your area is. But yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to drop your questions in the comments below. And like I said, if you want a free website audit of your website, go to the link in the description. It should be fittermedia.com/audit. But until next time, I'll see you later.